بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ونبي قتادة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إذا أقيمت الصلاة فلا تقوموا حتى تروني قد خرجت. متفق عليه. Dari Abu Qatada radiallahu anhu, he says, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, when uh, Iqama is given for Salah, they do not stand until you see me. I have come out. Muttafaqun alayh. Uh, the Fuqaha have written that when the Mukabbir, the person giving the Iqama, he says, Hayya ala Salah, that's the time the Muqtadi should stand. But I mentioned this before, that's when they're already sitting in a row. But if we all fire the back, then they must move earlier. Um, and that is the time that Nabi Karim comes out of his room. ونبي هريرة رضي الله قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إذا أقيمت الصلاة فلا تأتوها تسعون وأتوها تمشون وعليكم السكينة فما أدركتم فصلوا وما فاتكم فأتموا. متفق عليه. وفي رواية المسلم: فإن أحدكم إذا كان يعمد إلى الصلاة فهو في الصلاة. Nabi Abu Hurairah said, Nabi Karim says that when the Salah is, Iqamah is given for Salah, right? Then do not come to it running, and come to it uh, walking, and upon you is tranquility. Then whatever you get, then read, and whatever you must, then complete. In other words, you shouldn't run, right? And you write for Muslim Shareef, that indeed one of you, when he intends Salah, then he is in Salah. As you're moving for Salah, it's as though you're in Salah already. So we find that generally, not when the Iqamah is given, but generally we find that when the Imam goes into Ruku, then many of us, we rush to try and get the Imam in Ruku and uh, and get that rakat. But yet the Hadith tells us that you should come, and if you must sit, you just make up what you must. Mullah Ali Qadhi Rahmatullah says that the ulama have ikhtilaf here, that if a person is rushing for takbir-e-ula, this is now something different, takbir-e-ula, can he run? So some say he can, and they go, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu one was at Jannatul Baqi when Iqama was given, and then he rushed to the masjid. And some ulama say it is only appropriate that he comes walking with tranquility and at ease, and whatever he gets, and even if it means that he's missing the takbir-e-ula, right? He must come walking with ease, because as long as you moving to Salah, it's as though you in Salah. Right. Al-Fasl al-Thalith. وعن زيد بن أسلم رضي الله قال الرسول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ليلة بطريق مكة ووكل بلالا أن يوقظهم للصلاة فرقد بلال ورقدوا حتى استيقظوا وقد طلعت عليهم الشمس فاستيقظ القوم فقد فزعوا فأمرهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يركبوا حتى يخرجوا من ذلك الوادي وقال إن هذا واد به شيطان فركبوا حتى خرجوا من ذلك الوادي ثم أمرهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن ينزلوا وأن يتوضأوا وأمر بلالا أن ينادي للصلاة أو يقيم. First do that. Right? Now from Zayd ibn Aslam said that Nabi Karim once settled down the last portion of the night in the road to Makkah, right? And he appointed Bilal radiallahu anhu to wake them up for Salah. Bilal radiallahu anhu fell asleep, and they fell asleep until they woke up, and the sun had risen upon them. So the people woke up and they became frightened. So Nabi Karim ordered them to ride until they came out from that valley, and he said, indeed, this is a valley uh, in which Shaitan is. So they rode until they came out from that valley. Then Nabi Karim ordered them to settle down and to make wuzu. And, and he ordered Bilal to give azan for Salah or give Iqamah. فصلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بالناس ثم انصرف وقد رأى من فزعهم فقال يا أيها الناس إن الله قبض أرواحنا ولو شاء لردها إلينا في حين غير هذا فإذا رقد أحدكم عن الصلاة أو نسيها ثم فزع إليها فليصليها كما يصليها في وقتها. ثم التفت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى أبي بكر الصديق فقال إن الشيطان أتى بلالا وهو قائم يصلي فأضجعه ثم لم يزل يهدئه كما يهدأ الصبي حتى نام. ثم دعا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بلالا فأخبر بلال أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مثل الذي أخبر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أبا بكر. فقال أبو بكر أشهد أنك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. رواه مالك مرسلا. Then Rasulullah read Salah with the people, then he turned around and he saw from them being perturbed and frightened. So he said, "O people, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes possession of our souls. And if he wished, then he would have returned it to us in a time other than this. In other words, he would have woken us up before this and we would have made it for Fajr. So there's some hikmah that he didn't wake us up before this. So when one of you sleeps from Salah or he forgets it, then he becomes frightened, he becomes aware of it. Then he should recite it just as he recites it in its normal time. Now, so recite it exactly the same as you recite in your normal time. Then Nabi Akram turned to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and he said, indeed, Shaitan came to Bilal while she was standing and reciting Salah. So he made him sleep. So he made him sleep, right? Then he continued lulling him to sleep, right? Just as a child is lulled to sleep until he slept. Then Nabi Akram called Bilal radiallahu anhu and Bilal radiallahu informed Nabi Akram with the likeness of that which Nabi Akram informed Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, I testify that indeed you are Rasulullah, Rasul of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right. So if you look at this incident here, it seems like it's a different incident from the other one because that took place in the coming back from the Battle of Khaybar. So that's on the road from Medina to Khaybar. And this took place on the road between Makkah and Medina, right? That's the first thing. The second thing there, yeah, so here they've got here, he gave order Bilal that he gave azan for Salah or he gives Iqamah. But the correct is that as it is in Abu Dawud Shareef, أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم أمر بلالا بالأذان والإقامة. He ordered Bilal to give azan and iqamah. Right. Then you should recite it. You should recite it just as you recite it the time. So this words, what does it show? It shows that that if it's a loud salah, then its qaza should also be loud, and if it's a soft salah, then its qaza should also be soft. However, some ulama of the Ahnaf they have ikhtilaf and they say qaza should always be made softly. I did check this masla up. So what they say is that if you, for the Ahnaf, if you make qaza, you're going to make qaza of a loud salah and you're making it in jamaat, then you make it loudly, right? Then you make it loudly. But if you're making it alone, then you make it softly. You got it now? All right. Then, so here now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one that creates situations, right? And He only used shaitan here to make them sleep, right? Because He wanted it to happen like this, right? So He used shaitan here to make them sleep. It's not just shaitan made them sleep on his own will. You understand it? Right. وابن عمر رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خصلتان معلقتان في أعناق المؤذنين للمسلمين صيامهم وصلاتهم رواه Ibn Majah. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu narrates that he says, Nabi Karim says, two characteristics which are attached on the necks of the muazzinin for the Muslimin. One is their fast and the other their salah. Meaning that the muazzins, they are responsible for these two things, for the time of salah and also for the fast, the breaking of the fast of the people, and obviously they're stopping the sehri. Right. Babul Masajidi wa Mawadi'is Salati, the chapter of the Masajid and the places of Salah. So there are great virtues, obviously, for reading your Salah in the Masajid, or just the Masajid itself has got great virtue. As Abu Zar radiallahu anhu, he says, he gave a nasiyat and advice to his son, and he says, "Oh my son, the masjid should be your house." Because I heard Nabi Kareem saying that the masajid are the houses of the pious. And whoever makes the masjid his house, right, then he will have peace and the rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take responsibility for sending him over the pool Sirat. Right. Abdullah ibn Mughaffar radiallahu anhu, he says that to save yourself from the shaitan, the masjid is a fortified fort. In other words, the masjid is a fort by which you can save yourself from the shaitan. As Umar radiallahu anhu, he says that the masajid are the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the earth. And whoever visits the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor him there as a guest. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال لما دخل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم البيت دعا في نواحيه كلها ولم يصلي حتى خرج منه فلما خرج ركع ركعتين في الكعبة وقال هذه القبلة. رواه البخاري ورواه مسلم عنه عن أسامة بن زيد. Ibn Abbas said, when Nabi Akram entered the Kaaba, he made dua in the four corners of it, and he did not recite salah until he came out from it. When he came out, then he read two rakats facing the Kaaba, and he said, this is the Qibla. Read by Bukhari and Muslim also, and narrated from Usama bin Zaid. Right. So he pointed out to the Kaaba and said, this is your Qibla now. In other words, this is your final Qibla, and this is now not going to be abolished. This is now forever going to be the Qibla, right? And then, but obviously what it doesn't mean here is that because he pointed to the one side of the Kaaba, that that's only the Qibla. Rather, all four sides are the Qibla, right? And then also he's got here, it also doesn't mean that you can't now recite your salah inside the Kaaba, right? Imam Malik rahmatullahi says that you can't recite farz salah inside the Kaaba, right? And all ulama are unanimous that you can recite nafil salah in the Kaaba, right? However, Imam Malik rahmatullah and Imam Ahmad rahmatullah, they say you can't recite farz salah inside the Kaaba. Okay, leave it till there.